guys, can you let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, please? Michael, stop watching. Um, that's great. If you can let me know, hi there, watching whilst eating dinner. Um, oh, Princess has actually finally logged on several times. Um, right, okay. So tonight we're going to be doing the Drayton book organizer. And if my husband's still watching, he's on holiday, so with the kids. If he's still watching, bye, Michael. Right, okay. So we've got a few people watching. Can you just let me know you can hear me, if you can see me, and then I will carry on with the rest. A thumbs up will do. I can hear you. Thank you, Sharon. Right, okay. So, we're going to be doing the Drayton book organizer. Yep, I can hear you. And on time. Yay, princess. We're going to do the book organizer. It's a quick make. However, I'm splitting it over two sew-alongs for the simple reason is we have several people, quite a few new bunch of people here, and Joan is on the Zoom link. No, it's not Zoom. Can you let Joan know it's not Zoom? It's Facebook Live tonight. Bless her. Um, yeah, so I'm going to do it over two sew-alongs. Simple reason is for the fact that there is some new people, and no, some of them have made bags, but there's quite a few of them that haven't. Right, so I'm going to let you know the numbers haven't changed. What happened was when I priced increased Fred's gang, I lost quite by Michael by I lost quite a few people, um, and then I basically gained a few people. So it's equaled itself out. So don't stress. I know someone was saying the numbers are going down. They are, but they haven't. It's gone back up again. So I've got some new people that have joined. Because I know some people are worried that Fred's gang is going to disappear. It isn't. It isn't going to disappear. The price had to go up because obviously sub boxes, contents, how much it costs me to buy the stuff in, how much it takes me to write a pattern, or several hours or several days to write a pattern. I also uh, get Michael to proofread it, so I have to pay him with food and stuff. I know who's watching. Right, okay. So don't stress, Fred's is not going, but a few things are changing through the year. Yeah. Right, okay, so we are making this today. It's a really simple make. Don't stress. It has got a zip, but I'm going to teach you how to do it. We might not touch the zip today completely, but it's generally just like a normal pouch that you would make, like a pencil case. But obviously, it's got the elastic and it's got the extra pocket for the calculator and your pens, extra pens to go in. And here, I personally would keep. I have a tool. I haven't got it here, but I have a tool that's got a measuring guide on it for when I'm designing patterns and I have to put the seam allowance. There'd be a little square tool that goes in here that I had designed for me. And that will go in there with a highlighter because I always highlight because I'm an old-fashioned pattern designer. So you get them as paper templates, which are designed through the computer, but I actually originally all templates start off drawn, so hand drawn by myself, and then I draw them out, put the highlighter as my seam allowance, scan them in, and then basically do all the digital stuff. I'm a bit backwards when it comes to. I'm a bit old-fashioned, so I'll say not backwards. I'm old-fashioned when it comes to designing templates. I work back to front, but that's how I've been taught by my mom, and I'm not going to change that way. So yeah. Right, so I'm going to teach you this, and also I'm going to talk you through this elastic and what size is best for the book organizer, because someone says, does it have to be that wide? I'm saying yes, but it doesn't have to be, but I'm saying yes, depending on what style of book you're going to put it on. Now, someone said, oh, I only use A4 pads. There's nothing stopping you doubling the size of the elastic. So the elastic, you need 9.5 inches in length. There's nothing stopping you going up to um, 19 inches in length for an A4 book if you have an A4. But obviously the pattern won't be any bigger. The pattern, the actual pouch itself will stay the same, but obviously you can extend the elastic to make it go onto an A4. And then someone messaged me, oh, I want it to go on a ring binder. There's no harm in you doing it for a ring binder either. That's another reason why I've gone for this soft, stretchy elastic. It just means that it stretches very well and it doesn't damage the book that you put it on or the ring binder in the case of the person that messaged me. So I'm just going to go to the overhead camera. Let me just turn this bit off and go to the overhead camera and talk you through everything before we make a start. Okay, any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Honestly, I don't bite. If you're stuck on another pattern, then go ahead, ask about that. Right, okay, so the pattern itself can be found in the digital downloads, which is at the top of the group in the file section. And you can find that under, I think it's the very first file that you come to, and it's the Drayton Book Organizer. Now, Drayton is a road name in my town. Most of my patterns are named after either road names within my town or landmarks within my town or my area. There is a few that's named randomly by some people, but most of them are named after place names or street names within my town. Okay, so the elastic I've used is this is 30, I want to say 30 centimeters. Just bear with me. Not 30 centimeters, 30 millimeters. No, it's 40 millimeters. Yeah. So this is 40 millimeters. And the reason why I've gone for this is if you've got a soft paperbacked book, so like a reading book, but if you're one of these people that takes notes into your reading books, and writes notes and puts little post-it notes in there because you might be studying. Having a soft, stretch, wide elastic means that you can, rather than just putting it over the front cover, you can put it over the back and the front. So obviously this is the hard back, but there's nothing stopping you doing that. Also use a soft finish elastic. Now some elastics have got polyester in them. They have all got polyester, but they've got a hard polyester in them, which means that it can probably scuff a book if you wanted to use it and use it on a nice book. Obviously, this isn't a nice book. This is just a normal A4 book, A5 book that I've just grabbed. But there's nothing stopping you using either 30 or 40. Now, somebody says, can they use 1 inch? Because that's all they've got. Yes, you can. But I personally would do 2 straps, only because you will slowly overfill that case. I can guarantee you, I put loads in there and it was a chunk. And I put it on a soft book, a soft covered book, and the front cover started curling. So, because there was quite a lot of stress because of the bag being so overfilled. So, just make sure that you put 2 straps in if you're going to do it. Now, I will talk you through the next sew along of where I would position those if I was doing like 1 inch straps. When I say straps, I mean elastic. Okay, so when you're downloading the pattern, you need to print off the one page first, then you know you're getting it at the correct size. So the page with the template, print it off at actual size or 100%, So you know you get this 1 inch is actually measuring 1 inch. I'll firstly always print off this page or the page of the templates which has got the square on, and then once I'm happy I will then go back and print out the rest of the pattern. This front cover is going to change. I just couldn't get rid of that background, so it will go. Most of you know my patterns are all got the same kind of clear background, so that will be changing. There is one mistake, well, there's two mistakes in the pattern that I've noticed earlier today. So in the cutting out section, I highlight where the name is of the template. So like up here, this is the tab closure template. So the tab closure template I've actually highlighted and made it bold, but I've highlighted made the medium interface in bold when it should be the next line down where it says zip tabs. So that should actually be zip tabs as bold, but that's just a human error. And then the other one is on a template. So on the template here, on the first, your template doubles up as two pattern pieces. So it's two templates. The first template, the outer pocket template, is actually correct. It says writing is facing up. So the writing needs to face up when you put this on the right side of your fabric, when you cut it out. This is where I've made a bit of a human error. I've put right when it should be writing is facing down. So just amend that, and then basically when I say writing facing down, your fabric should be right side facing up towards you, and it should be flipped over to cut the next template out, which is your outer pocket lining template. But I will talk you through that again in a minute. There isn't many steps on this. It's quite a quick and easy make, and just remember it's a 1/4 inch seam allowance because I accidentally made one after making this one, which is the pattern front cover, and I used 3/8 and it was a lot smaller. So please just take into consideration that it's a quarter of an inch. The only time you will use 3/8 is when you're implementing the zip. Okay, let me just go through the cutting out and then we will basically start the project. So I've got my elastic, like I said, 9.5 inches in length. I have singed with a lighter both of the ends so it stops fraying, because this one does fray because it's soft. I've also got my zip. My zip is a number 5. Those who are new, when I say number 5, that's to do with the coil in the middle, so that's the actual zip part. From here to here, it measures 5 millimeters or 6 millimeters, which means that it's a number 5 zip. If it doesn't measure 5 or 6 there, it's too small or too big. Also, with a number 5, you'll find this is just over 1.5 inches wide. So if I put that down, well, actually it's 1.25 inches. You'll find the tape itself with the zip coil in the middle is 1.25 inches wide. Okay. I've implemented putting the zip pull on. I've done that several times in all the sew alongs. There is tools out there you can buy from Emily Designs, Emily B Designs. There's other zipper jigs. I have a YouTube video on how to install that with a kitchen fork, and you can basically install it. But I tend to find that I don't need a jig or anything like that to install it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is to cut out your template pieces. So your two template pieces are your tab closure. So you'll need 2 of those with interfacing. Doesn't matter if it's right side or wrong side with the template. You just need interfacing. I've used woven fuser interfacing and it's completely sold out again. I have ordered a couple of more rolls of it to be made. I just have to wait at least a month before it arrives because I have it made. in a manufacturer's just outside my town, so it takes them a while. So it will come back into stock, guys, and I'll let you know. It was all Fred's gang members that bought it, and I basically ran out yesterday, so the other day when I went live with it. Okay, so the other template is this template here. Now, the outer pocket template, as you can see, the point is to the right hand side. Sorry, I'm dyslexic and I don't know my rights and lefts. So when I put the fabric right side facing up, so that's the print facing up, I pop this down. Obviously, I cut round it, but use the template with the writing facing up. So when I say writing, I mean this writing. And when it comes to the lining, I've obviously used the same fabric colour, but with the fabric pointing right side facing up, so that's your print pointing right side facing up, you have got to flip this over for the next template. So flip the template over so the writing is facing down, right side onto the fabric lining, and then you've got to cut it that way. And the reason why you're cutting it like that is when you put these two wrong sides together, it means that they are pointing the right way. It's only because it's on a weird angle here. I can't use Emily's to put the zipper on. Everyone makes it look too easy. Okay, so you're not the only person to say this. So my advice is to go over to my YouTube channel. There is a video on how to try and do it with a kitchen fork. If you can't do it by a kitchen fork, I can teach in another video in Fred's Gang on how to do it without a kitchen fork. But as it stands, I've already done a video with a kitchen fork. Try watching that first. The zipper jig can be a bit of a nightmare, but it depends on which zipper jig you've got. If it's the zipper jig that you screw onto a table, you might find that better. But she did do one a few years ago or a year ago where it was freestanding and it roamed around your table. I personally couldn't get on with that one, but I know a lot of people have got on more with the ones that screw onto the countertops. So I don't know which one you have of those. Right, okay, so the next thing you're going to need is your binding. It doesn't have to be a bias binding. So when I say bias binding, normally that's on the 45-degree angle. It's got a stretch. It can be straight or grain. I've gone for Tula Pink because I love Tula Pink and it goes with this fabric. But all I've done is folded it in half, given it a good press, opened it up and brought the two long edges into the center, giving it a good press, but obviously this was a few days ago and it's coming undone. I will press that in a minute. By the way, these have got interfacing on these two fabric pieces, which is the pocket. And then the only other pieces that you should have is your zip tabs, which I will show you how to prep when we come to putting those. And then you should have two main outer body pieces, and they should have interfacing on, and two main body lining pieces, and they should have interfacing on. I've used woven interfacing because there is no other stabilizers, and it just gives you that extra body. Yes, it's the freestanding. Yeah, try the one, if you can afford it, try the one that she's just brought out, which is the one that screws onto the counter. A lot more people are saying they prefer that one over the freestanding one. Okay, so let's crack on. Hi Becky, got my elastic today. It looks great. Thanks for the quick service. Oh, you're more than welcome. Just to let you know, the Royal Mail, I know I send mine tracked 48, but they're changing their service, their second class service. So I sometimes send second class, I sometimes send tracked 48, depending on if it's within the the postage allowance that you guys are paid. If it's going by second class, it can take up to a week now to get to you, because obviously they've cancelled on every day sending second class. It's every other day. So just be prepared. If if it doesn't arrive within a week, then get back to me. It could have been that I sent it second class. Right, okay, so moving on. Right, okay. I can't wait to show you the next pattern. I can't remember if I showed you or not. Right, okay, so two pocket pieces with the interfacing attached. Do you want me to do a quick video using the tea towel hanger for the zips, Becky, if you haven't got time? Yes, Princess, if people have got the tea towel hanger. However, I have a question for those that use a tea towel hanger. Does it scratch your zips? I'm just asking that question out loud because that's the reason why I've never used one myself. I don't mind, Becky. I have it Royal Mail, best way to get it. Yep, that's right, Carol. Right, okay, so wrong sides together, and we're just going to clip along um, that edge, that angled edge, shall I say, the top edge. This fabric is what I've designed. I have got it in stock. Got it in stock as faux leather and obviously PU and this cotton fabric. I will say, this part is my favourite part of the design. The green and the orange, not so much, but it's obviously to do with the rainbow. Right, on my sewing machine, I've got size 16 needle. Believe it or not, I haven't got Gutermann thread on my sewing machine because I was doing some quilting today. I've got Aurifil thread, but I've got the 40 weight, I want to say. Just bear with me. I'm just going to have a look now. I have got. Yeah, I've got the 40 weight, which is the green one. For this project, I don't mind stating that you can use Aurifil. If it was a bag with a crossbody strap or a bag with handles, or you're going to put a ginormous amount of stuff in the bag, I would say do not ever use Aurifil thread. Aurifil thread is cotton thread, and cotton thread snaps and it hasn't got that elasticity, unlike bonded nylon or Gutermann's sew all thread has got an elasticity, so it kind of stretches when you put something heavy into a bag or your strap is stretching. Because I can guarantee crossbody straps, when your bag is overfilled, will stretch. So let me just go to the sewing machine camera. Okay. So in my sewing machine, I've got a size 16 universal needle. I have got a ruffle thread, top and bottom, and I'm using the HT9 Janome because still haven't taken my one off to get serviced yet. So on top, I'm basically stitching these together, base stitching these together using the stitch length number 4, and I'm just doing it 1/8 of an inch away from the edge, because remember our seam allowance is 1/4 of an inch, and I'm only doing the top part. You don't need to reverse your stitch either at the start and at the end. Okay, just get rid of that thread because it's a bit too long. Anybody going to Festival Quilt? And is anybody going on Saturday? I think that's they are only delivered second class. Yeah, no, I've had a confirmation about second class. They're going to be delivering every other day, so the Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and not Saturdays no more. Okay. So Going to get your binding. I'm just going to give mine just another press. And give that a really good press. Just to make sure I've got them in. That design is sitting on my knee at this moment. I'm putting the sides together and the zipper part. And I did start with the blue. Being a blue girl, never use red. I'm not a red girl even myself, but I like pinks and purples. Thank you, Emma. Yeah, obviously, selfish design. Our oldest is off to university. Can't believe I'm saying that. Our oldest is off to university in September, and I thought because he doesn't carry his pencil case around very often, but he will have to have a diary. I thought, oh, it's a good idea to make him one. So I'm making him the brightest and loudest one possible. It's this one that I'm making, which I don't think he will mind anyway. Um, I'm not sure I'll make it. Give John a cuddle from me, please. What are you making for the demo on Saturday? Well, I've got three demos on Saturday. One is the from 2023. You remember the block that's free on my website, which is the pencils. I'm doing that block as my first demo. My second demo is the Broadway clutch because it's the biggest and most popular seller on Sewing Street. And my third demo is turning the block from the pencil block into a standard pencil case. I'll just bring over the standard pencil case. So I'm saying standard pencil case, it's just basically a standard pencil case. They just want me to do some basic stuff on there because the simple reason is some quilters haven't even bagged mate before, so I just thought I'll do those. Right, okay, so open up your binding and you need the right side facing down. It will overlap each side, don't stress. And we're just going to match up the outer edges. And if you're a quilter, you'll know this terminology. We're going to stitch in the ditch, which is basically the crease nearest the outer edge. Or if you're not a quilter, we're going to stitch in the crease closest to the outer edge. I'm going to knock my stitch length down to a standard stitch length. So the standard stitch length on this is a 2.5. You will know on your sewing machine what your standard stitch length is. If not, a 2.4 to 2.5 is the general standard stitch length. Somebody said this is 2.3, but that's down to how they've tuned it at the manufacturers. Reverse your stitch at the start and at the end, and just go in that ditch, that crease, nice and slowly. You're right there on Sunday. I know. I'm only there on Saturday. Got to buy my ticket yet. I need to do it tonight, actually. They give me my ticket money back. I'm just Sewing Street was struggling for demonstrations of something different because I got like Debbie Shaw, me, Delphine, which Delphine's tomorrow, and I think Janet Clare's doing one. I think there's not many of us doing it, but they needed someone to do something different. So I think me and Debbie Shaw are doing something different. Right, okay, so I've just pressed it up. So that's right side. I'm just going to fold it over. You can, if you want to, run quarters tape or EPP glue, totally up to you. So if you want to do EPP glue, you can. I'm going to, just to show that it's another method that you can use. Fold it over and stick that into position. Personally, I also like to iron it down so it's in position. Oh, that's great, Emma. Yeah, I'm on the stand at 10, 12, and 1. But apparently they want me a bit more on the stand than just those 3 hours. Okay, just so this doesn't come undone, I'm going to pop some clips on. I'm going to go from the right side. I'm just going to sew about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of this edge here, all the way along, not on these bits here, but just on the pocket. Then once I get to this section here, I'm going to lengthen my stitch length, go down, across, and then up again, so it holds the pocket into one kind of shape and one piece. Okay, so because I'm top stitching at the moment, I'm going to go to stitch length 3.5. Gonna top stitch about 1/8 of an inch away, as I explained. Don't need to reverse your stitch. If you find that you haven't caught the binding on the back, you could do another row, totally up to you. I am going to double check, and I haven't caught it all the way along, so I am going to do a second row. So I'm going to use my foot. You can't see my foot here, but I'm going to use my foot, and I've got two blades either side. I'm going to use my foot and one of the blades to measure the slight difference. And I'm probably 1/8 of an inch away from the last stitched line that I've just done. I'm just going to check that. Yep, that's caught all the way now. So I'm going to flip this round, knock my stitch length up because it's a basting stitch, and just close off the raw edges. I'm doing it about just under 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Okay, so once you're happy with that, I'm just going to trim off the two excess pieces. I've got my rich cutter and my quarter saw. Okay, so we've just done, I'm just going to point out the pictures that we've just done. 1, 2, 4 we've done. We're going to get the main body outer. Thanks, Dawn. It's my fabric. It's the one that I designed. This isn't. This is Andover. I think I've had this 3 years. So I've made a pact with myself that I will only buy fabric if I need a specific one for a design. Tula Pink I won't be buying. But I've got to use what's in my stash just to get it down, basically. Okay, so you're going to get your pocket, pop that on the bottom edge, and pop some clips down the two sides and the base. Okay, and then we're just going to sew 1/8 of an inch away from the edge down the two sides here and across the bottom. Using a basting stitch, that's a long stitch length, so I'm using I'm close to a number 5 on my sewing machine. But I know some machines don't go up to a number 5, so you just use your biggest stitch length possible. Reverse your stitch up starting at the end, so basically that pocket's already reinforced. So when you start putting your pens in and stuff, then basically it's not going to rip at the sides. I'm actually really looking forward to at Festival Quilt. There is this bloke that I've started following, and he started following me on Instagram, and he's actually made wings, quilted wings, and they actually sit on your back, but obviously you won't be able to put them on. I'm so intrigued by them because they attach to your arm. So if you bring your arms up, they look like they're fully expanded, like birds' wings are fully expanded. And then if you bring your arms down, they close up behind you. I just can't wait to see it. Just been admiring his work quite a lot recently, so can't wait. Right, okay, so this next bit is totally up to you. So we're dividing this up into a pen pocket and a calculator. Now, if you've got a big phone, like our kids have got big phones, their big phone will only fit in that front pocket without putting the divider in it. Personally, if you're making this for a school kid, they're trying to ban phones or trying to get them into those fabric locker things. So I've gone for the calculator option. So I measured my calculator and then I made sure that I had enough distance. So I have given you a measurement in here. So if we go to step 6, I have given you a measurement. This is a standard calculator. This is general. They all are, the pocket ones are this size. So if you want to go by this measurement, you can. So we will be measuring 2 inches from the outer edge here, this outer edge here, in to do the pen pocket, which is several pens can fit in there. But personally, don't divide it up because I did on the mock-up and it was a struggle getting the one in closest to the zip. Or if you find that the person is going to more than likely use a mobile phone or they've got a bigger calculator, don't do the divider pocket, this actual pocket, because this actual closure is only basically a guideline. I've put it over where the calculator will sit. If your calculator's in the middle, you will just move this into the middle and then obviously move this into the middle. And obviously I've made this longer, so wherever this lands, it doesn't matter because obviously where this stud is, it will still be on the pocket somewhere. So I'm going to go with what I've already done, which is 2 inches. So I'm going to measure 2 inches from the highest point of the pocket in, and I'm going to draw a line on the pocket. So I've got a tracing chalk pencil here, which gives off a lot of chalk. Okay, so I'm just going to sew from here all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to reverse my stitch a few times at the top, obviously, because we're going to put several pens in there eventually. And obviously, because the calculator's going in here, it just means that it's reinforced going over that a few times. If you want to, you can go ahead and put a rivet. Once you've sewn, you can go ahead and put a rivet there if you want to. If you want to go a bit extra on making it secure, but I've just kept it cheap without any rivets on. So I'm going to go over this. I've got my stitch length at a stitch length number 4, which is the top stitch length. Gone over that twice and reversed over it twice. I'm just going to go all the way down. Don't need to reverse your stitch at the end. It's no point. And then I'm just going to trim off excess thread and get rid of the dust. If you can, get a baby wipe on it. There's no harm in doing that. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is just pop this to one side. And we're going to get the closure. So we've got the closure and we need to pop them right sides together. matching up the curved edge. And the long edges. I'm going to leave the top flat edge open. I'm not going to put any clips on that. Okay. Then you're going to stitch 1/4 of an inch all the way around apart from this top edge because that's our turning gap. Reverse your stitch at the start and at the end because obviously when we're turning it, it will basically could possibly come undone, the stitches. I've knocked my stitch length down to a standard stitch length of 2.5, and like I said, don't forget to reverse your stitch at the start and at the end, and you're doing 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. I've worked it out for 1/4 of an inch because when you put that cam snap, or if you put a bigger snap onto it, it means that you've still got a bit of wiggle room. Take it nice and slow when you go around the curve. Make sure your needle's down before you lift up your presser foot. Okay, so if you've got pinking shears, you can go ahead and pink shear around the curve on the excess seam allowance. I personally don't use pinking shears because I can't get the knack of them. I never have done. I have used them on several occasions, but I just can't get the knack of them. So if you're like me, trim about just under 1/8 of an inch away from your stitch line, all the way around, apart from the top edge. And that will still give you a clean finish, like pinking shears would. You don't need to snip. If the curve was bigger, I would say snip into the curve on this excess seam allowance. But because the curve isn't that big, you don't need to. If you've got a turning tool, use a turning tool. But I personally just open up my, get my pokey stick and bring that out. This is Wagamama's chopsticks, so whenever you go to Wagamama's, I don't use chopsticks. I'm not that good at them. Like my nephew is really good at them. He I go around collecting the chopsticks, the not used ones either, by the way, guys. Okay, so I've got the poker stick gone in and curved it around the curves. I'm just going to give it a press. It's not hot enough. Must have been on red when I picked it up. Okay. Now I'm going to top stitch this 1/8 of an inch down the two long edges and around the curve. If you're not confident at doing 1/8, do 1/4 of an inch or close to 1/4 of an inch all the way around, apart from the top edge. You don't need to do that. So I'm knocking my stitch length up to a top stitch of 3.5 because there's no heavy stabilizer in it. I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch. Like I say, if you're not confident doing 1/8, stick to 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so you're going to get your main antibody piece. Now, this is where I'm saying find the centre of that top part now. So I'm just going to fold this in half. Sorry if you can hear the ambulance or fire engine. No, it's a police car. Sorry if you can hear that. And just mark. I'm just snipped in the seam allowance, so I know that's my centre. Now, if you're doing a pocket that's just for a mobile phone and you haven't done that divide, this will need to go in the centre. So find the centre, give that a good squeeze, and plonk it there. Yes, your elastic, if you're using this width elastic, will go there. It will be a little bit bulky, but it just means that your phone is protected and it won't slip out. Unlike me, my calculator is going there. So I have done a measurement for you in the pattern. So image 9. So what's the next page? Image 9. So from the left hand side, I'm telling you to measure in 1 1/4 inches. 1 1/4. Okay. And then we're going to line up this outer edge with where that rule is gone. And that's the centre of that pocket if you've gone for the measurement of this pocket. But like I said, if you've gone for a complete pocket with no divider in it, go in the dead centre, find the centre, and then just plonk it in the dead centre. So I'm just going to base stitch across that, just about 1/8 of an inch away. So I've lengthened my stitch length up to stitch length 4. I will reverse my stitch at the start and at the end of this, just because we're not finishing off this part tonight, and I just don't want it to fall off in the for next week. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is pop this to one side, and we're going to finish that part off next week. And the last thing I'm going to do tonight is the zip tabs. Woo. Okay, so with the zip tabs, you can do 2 kind of methods. I'm going to teach you both tonight, but in the pattern I've only done the one method. So first of all, I've cut my zip down to the zip length that it states, which is, I think, 8.5. I want to say 8.5, 9.5, 8 inches. I was close, but far away. So, and I've singed the ends of the zip. So when I say singe, I've gone over with a lighter. I personally can't use standard lighters, and if you're new to the group and you're like me, you can't use the lighters that you roll your thumb on. I have to do that action. Get a candle lighter. It's so much easier. It's the trigger of a button, and all you do is have a glass of water with you. I don't normally condole this, but you just run it along, tap it on the end, and it stops the fraying. Okay, so that's been a game changer. I know I shouldn't say that, but the lighter I could not get on with at all. So I've got my zip, but I'm just now going to sew over the coil on both ends so the zip pull can't be pulled off. So I'm going to lengthen my stitch length up to the max. So on this one it's stitch length number 6. I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch away from the end. This is nylon, so you can sew through it. Just make sure you're sewing through nylon. If it's resin, please be careful. You can't really sew through resin. You shouldn't sew through resin either. Or if it's metal, definitely do not sew through it, please. If your zip coils are nylon but they look like metal, it means they're plastic, so you can sew through them. They're nylon. Right, okay, so I've just done those. Right, so the one tab, you're going to fold in half, and I'm going to show you both methods. So folded this in half, and you're going to open it up. This is the method that's in the actual pattern, by the way, guys. And I'm going to bring one of the edges into where the fold is, approximately about less than 1/8 of an inch away from where the fold is. I'm just going to press that. And you can basically, I'm showing you these two methods so you can identify which one is your favourite, and you can carry on doing this method for other pouches. Okay, so you're going to open up that flap, that bit that you've just folded over, right side facing down onto the top of your zipper, matching up the raw edges of your zip and of your tab, and you're just going to sew from there to there in that ditch, the ditch closest to the raw edge. So I'm going to put my stitch length back to a standard stitch length. I'm not reversing the stitch, there's no need. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is come off that thread. Flip that so it's right side. Flip it over. Fold this edge to where that raw edge of that zipper starts, like so, and fold over. Now you will find that is shorter than the original bit at the front. That's fine. Add your clip or clips. I'm going to put it there. And you're going to sew 1/8 of an inch away from this edge here, not this edge, from this edge. And then that will catch that back piece there. Might need a tailor's awl. I find this way a bit fiddly, but some people find it not fiddly. So, personal choice. Okay, so that's one tab done. Your stitching will always be in the middle. I personally don't like that, but it just means that your tab is caught. So for the other tab method is we do some folds and we do everything folded now. So fold it in half, give it a press. And then we're just going to bring the two long edges, the two outer long edges into the centre, give that a press. And then we're going to fold it again and give it a press. Okay. Going to keep it folded and pop that on there. Fold that over, pop a clip in. And then I'm going to sew 1/8 of an inch away from this inner edge here of the tab, and that will hold everything into place. I find this one easier. Personal choice, have a play, keep playing around with your tabs, because there's loads of different methods out there. I just find this way easier, so if I'm doing a chain of zips, so if I was making 3 or 4 of these pouches, I just find it so much easier putting the tabs on this way than the other way. You're only doing one sew line, especially for those who do craft sales or are making multiples of these for presents or something, or you've got so many grandkids or kids to make them for school. The last thing you're going to do is you find your tab is slightly wider than the zipper tape. So just basically trim off the excess and over those tabs. And that is it for today. Didn't you used to do the pocket tabs method where you sew two pieces of fabrics together? Yeah, I still do. But for this bag, if I pull this off, if you noticed, it's not curving in. So when you do that method that Princess has just said, so she goes, didn't you used to do the pocket tabs method where you did two pieces of the fabric together and bag it out and slide the zipper? Yeah, you can, but you will get a curve here. So I didn't want a curve because I want to maximize the space that's in that pouch. So what I'm going to do now is open this up. Be able to see my little finger or poker stick. Poker stick. I can actually bring it out to the other side. So basically, it's going to be so much easier sewing it here because there's no bulk when we come to sew the pouch together, which means that you can get a nice crisp finish here. I've also done it with this one here that I've done for Sewing Street. So obviously the tab's a bit wider. You can poke that out. There's only a slight curve on this bit. That was my mistake. So yeah, so obviously you don't get any curves on your pouches. So that could be a new method that people start using on making pouches and that for Christmas. Now if I just go to the other camera, back to the front view camera. You're more than welcome, guys. You don't need to thank me. It's what you pay for. This one. Right, okay. So I'm not live now until making needs to bring up the calendar. No, we're going into August, aren't we? So I'm not live now until the 13th of August and then the 27th of August. Thank God the 13th isn't on a Friday. So I'm not live now until 13th of August, but I will show you the next pattern. And I'm not 100% sure if I've already showed you. So it's called the Jupiter Way, which is named after another place name in Sheffield. There is no zips involved. However, there is eyelets or grommets, and there's 12 of them. I'm sorry, but it's just a small bucket bag. You can make it with the tassel ends if you want to, without the tassel ends. Totally up to you. You do need to do the eyelets or the grommets. I haven't got the grommets this size in stock as of yet. They should be here by the time we start this pattern. So if you've got no grommets, when I say grommets, grommets are ones that you screw in. So you cut the fabric out, you cut the hole out, and you use screws to pop the two metal components together. The eyelet method is where they're coming in stock. You got a setting tool and you need a hammer. I personally will be showing both, but in the pattern I've showed you how to do this technique. But you will learn everything in this. It's just a small little cozy bag. Some people have said that I've already showed it to. Does it have to be a crossbody strap? No, it can be a shoulder strap if you want to. Personally, I prefer crossbody straps and I make the bags for me and I design them for me. I need this, love, love, love. I have 12mm ones with the green machine. 12mm you can probably get away with. The pattern states 14. However, this tie is 10. So you can probably get away with 12mm. And if you've got the green machine and you've got the 12mm eyelets and the die, personally, go for it because the installation will be even easier. Now, Sharon, with the green machine, do you get the hole punch as well? So does it punch your holes out? Because that'd be even better. But in the pattern, I tell you the equal distance of where to put it, all the grommets, but the grommets are the very last thing you actually put in, grommets and eyelets. There is no zip inside this because we have got one woman, I'm not going to name her, bless her cotton socks. She's got a favourite of zips, and that's not putting them in. She won't put them in, she won't touch a zip. She had a very bad experience in her younger years and she will not touch a zip. So she asked me to make a bag without no zips completely. If you want to add a zip pocket, you can go ahead, add a zip pocket. I can give you the measurements for that. But I'm definitely not going to be teaching no zip in this. Um, oh, thank you, Declan. Yeah, so this is coming out. This should be pattern dropped after the 13th demo. So on the 13th, when I do the last of the Drayton book organizer, I will basically pattern drop this into the group. I will be getting a few patterns printed because there is several pages of this. So I know there's a few of you that like paper patterns. I will get those in for you. Yes, I have the cutter with the green machine, but it's hard to use. Um, is that the pulling down, or is that the bit where you're punching through the layers? Because this top bit has only got two layers of fabric and two pieces of interfacing. One piece of interfacing, shall I say? Yeah, one piece of interfacing. It's got no other heavy stabilizer because I knew this was going to come up. I used to have a hole punch for leather work, so I used to have all these different holes and hammer on a board. If the leather was too thick for me, I had to get my dad to do it for me. We bought an anvil, which is basically a green machine, but it's slightly different for leather. Um, um, an anvil's slightly different. But an anvil, I still couldn't get the crunch of that cutter to go down. I have arthritis, so my husband cuts it for me. Yeah, that's fine. I personally would I would get your husband to do it too, especially if you're like you say, got arthritis. I have arthritis in my right hand and I got it in my thumb today actually to be fair. And I know I wouldn't be able to pull down it or crunch it all the way. So personally, you can either cut it like I'm going to show you to cut it with a craft knife, or you can use the punch. Right, okay, so if you're at Festival Quilt, see you Saturday, hopefully on Saturday. Come over to the Sloane Street stand, say hi, and please give me your moral support because I need it because I'm actually really scared doing it. Um, I'm okay talking into cameras because there's no one there, but there's going to be people watching. Um, yeah, so honestly, please come over and support. I'll be live on the 13th. However, I'm live on Sewing Street TV channel on the 11th. So quite a busy week that week. Quite a busy few weeks actually. Um, and let you know there is several more patterns already designed and already photographed and already made. So we are going with patterns after patterns for the next few months, um, rather than techniques. As I was asking for techniques, I'm going to do a sit down over Christmas on how to clean your sewing machine, only because I know when it comes to packing the advent calendars, I'll be so tired. So I'm trying to plan ahead. We're packing those advent calendars and I'm not exhausting myself doing lives with teaching. I will basically sit down how to clean your sewing machines there. And yes, there is advent calendars left. We have only a few, and I mean a few, of the 12 days of Christmas, and not 12, 24 days of sewing, and we have a few, just over 10 left of the 12 days of sewing. For those who've done split pay, and if you're a split pay customer, your invoice for the next payment is coming out to you on Friday. You have until mid-August to pay. If you have problems by paying by mid-August, please message me. I will let it go until the end of August, but preferably not. But I don't mind Fred's gang saying, "Oh, I need to go until the end of August." You'll be fine, Becky. Wish that I was going to Festival Court so I could meet you and John. Ah, John's not there on my day. It's Becky Reed. Rebecca Reed, shall I say, not Becky. We call her Becky behind the scenes. We're not allowed to say that out loud. Rebecca Reed. So John will probably come and say hello. You know what he's like. He likes to stardom. Right, okay, I'm gonna go and have some tea because I'm cooking for myself and I haven't done it yet. Well, have a lovely evening, guys, and I'll see you all soon, and I'll see you on the 13th. Thanks for watching.